Hi guys, thanks. My name is Cheryl Faye Miller Rosadia White. Married and divorced twice. I'm very grateful to be here. I'd like to welcome the newcomers, and so grateful that you came and picked up your chip. And every time they do that, it kind of swoops me back to whenever, the day I rolled in. And I have to tell you, so much has changed in the 33 years. And I guess if the only message I carried tonight, because I never know what I'm going to say when I open my mouth, so the real message that I carry is that it's possible. For 33 years I have put together back to back, I didn't have to take anything. I've gone through a lot, I wouldn't say a whole lot, but enough to make one want to use. Not like the death of my father. I didn't want to drink or use about that. I just wanted to be done with it already, all right? Because I grieved my father's death for years before he died. I was a daddy's girl. I'm his princess, and I rued the day that he would be gone, and I'm like, oh. So I would actually grieve before he even was gone. And then when he finally passed away, it was like, oh, well, there's that. And, but I still have my moments behind that. And so much has happened, and it's hard to kind of squeeze a lot into what I typically do. Is I'll find myself starting from now, and then I'll work my way back to where it was, what it was like, rather than go way back to wherever it was and then come forward. I don't fucking know why, I just do. And when I was sitting here and the dogs were barking outside, I'm terrified of dogs, because when I was 5 years old, I was bit twice in the same spot when I was in kindergarten walking home from school. And so I've been terrified of dogs ever since. And just hearing them bark makes my heart beat fast. Like, oh, shit, please, he's not going to get me. Or I don't even know. And I know that there's a hurricane fence there. I know this. I've been here before. And it doesn't matter. My heart just beats fast anyway. So a couple of years ago, I guess Margarita lived with me. And I had next door to me 3 Labrador retrievers, labs, right? And they were so aggressive they would knock the pickets out of the fence and come and try and eat me. Die. For 9 months I was so afraid, and I would go over and tell the neighbors, your dogs, stop it, tell your dogs, I would flip the fuck out. And they go, they're nice dogs. I go, you're not hearing me. I'm terrified of dogs. I don't care about they're nice to you. And so Margarita, I don't even know what we were doing, but they busted through the picket, and she went out the sliding glass door, and about that time they came through the picket, and I was gonna come out, and they saw him come through, and I slammed the glass door and left her outside. You have the kibbles, and bitch, you feed the dog. Oh my God. No, I'm gonna die. My eyes are like saucers, right? I am so terrified. Like, you're on your own, and she's trying to get back in. I'm like, no, I can't open the door. Sorry, sister, bye. So, if you're ever in trouble, I got your back. As long as it doesn't have to do with dogs. If it has to do with dogs, you're on your own. I don't even know what to say about all that, but or I don't even know what step to work to get over it. All I know is that maybe I could stand in a circle full of freaking pit bulls or something barking at me but can't bite me, and until my heart doesn't pound like that. I don't know. Some kind of wicked Gestalt therapy bullshit. That's what I think of. But well, so last Friday I take my mom to the eye doctor. So, my mom is 90 years old, I quit my job and I moved back from, I moved away for like 10 years and I moved to Pleasanton. I lived in Pleasanton. I worked up there and played up there. And I came down here and she was having like kidney failure, and my nephew was living with her, and he wasn't being really nice to her. Actually, he was yelling at her and stuff. And I'm like, you're not going to do that as long as I'm alive, you little son of a bitch. But so I just quit my job. I said, I'm moving in, and I kicked him out. And we were in this little tiny apartment. I said, we were there for 5 years. I said, I can't do it one more day. I get up and take two. My boss allowed me to work at home, but I would get up and I'd take like 2 steps like this, and I'm at work. And then I go to bed. And then I get up and I take 2 steps and I'm at work. I don't even get dressed anymore now. Like, I don't even care. I go to the kitchen, get my coffee, take 2 steps, and go to work. And so it got crazy. I said, I can't live here in this apartment anymore. And I was actually in a relationship at that time that, I felt I needed to stay in until I did everything that I knew how to do in order to keep this relationship, because it was the longest one, and I thought the healthiest one that I've ever been in recovery. Or honestly, quite frankly, I was hooked on the honeymoon. The longest relationship I ever had was 3 months. When the honeymoon's over, you're gone. It's time for a new honeymoon. That's what I was hooked on. And so I successfully had a relationship with somebody for like 3 years. I thought that's a long time. And so this guy I was with, he was not in the fellowship. He was as I found out, a sex addict. But I didn't know how to deal with that, and I didn't know how to work the steps around that. I knew how maybe we should go to counseling about that, and we went to counseling about that, and he didn't want to participate, and so. It just got uglier from there. So we bought a house together. So I'm thinking this is the stupidest thing I ever did in my recovery, but not really. Not really. We were going to retire in this house and whoop-de-whoop and blah, blah, blah. We had plans, and they just fell apart. You know, like I'm not in that relationship anymore and haven't been for 2 years, and so that's okay. But the other part of that is that now I've moved my mother from somewhere she's really comfortable, from one side, the east side of town, Clovis and Kings Canyon, over to the northwest side of town. She hates it. She's like, nobody visits over here. Nobody comes to visit. Nobody, you know, like all the neighbors just keep to themselves, and so do we. But at the apartment, I mean, everybody would come in and out, in and out, in and out. And I said, because you're the ATM, Mom. How many people over there still owe you money? She's like, well, you're right. I'm like, well, yeah, I'm right, because I'm listening to it happen while I'm working. I'm like, can't deal with this, but it's your money. I'll let you do what you want. You know, so I've been able to let the deal that we had was, I'm going to let her do what she can do until she can't do it anymore. And then she said, put me in a home. So I am honoring that. And by the way, this is my living amends to my mother, because I did nothing but torture that lady. I mean, she would come and lean in my doorway like this while I'm working. She'd go, you remember that time? And I'm like, yeah. It was either yes or no. I was pretty fucked up. And she said, well. And so I would say, one day it hit me, I'm tired of hearing all that. I don't want to hear it anymore. And she came in, she goes, remember that time? And I said, you know, Mom, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm so sorry. You don't have any fond memories of me. And she goes, well, I have fond memories. I go, well, then let's talk about them. You know, I was a participant. I made my amends to you. I made my amends to my father, my brother. The most beautiful amends I made was to my brother at the graveside, where like time had stood still at sunset. It was a God shot, you know, one of those things. And anyway, so apparently I owe her more amends, so I'm going to move in and take care of her. I don't know anything about it. And I'm finding out I have to be nice to old people because I'm going to be one. I'm already being one. Oh, are you kidding me? And so she asked me 3 times, like in one day, you're going to take me to the doctor on Friday, to the eye doctor? I'm like, yes, I took the time off. I'm going to take you to the doctor. And she said, okay. And I went in the kitchen and I was telling Margarita, I go, and then I go in the kitchen. She gets up and she comes in and she goes, you're going to be able to take me to the eye doctor on Friday, right? And I said, yes, I will. And I'm just about this far from losing my shit. So she comes in and I'm back to work a few hours later. She goes, you're going to be able to take me to the eye doctor? And I'm like, I'm taking you to the eye doctor on Friday at 3. I get off at 3. We have to be there at 3:15. Yes, I'm taking you. So she's like, okay, I'm scared of her. She gets out of here. She's out of there now. So I guess, like being kind of stern and firm with her, it works. I don't know. It seemed to work for me. Shut up and get out of here. I'm working, man. Yes, I'm picking. And so we get to the eye doctor. This is the funniest story. We get to the eye. She says, oh, she's really excited. I get to get new glasses, you know. And I'm like, cool, that's cool, yay. So we get there, and the lady at the counter said, oh, hi, you're here for your eye exam. And she's like, yeah, I get to get new glasses. And the receptionist says, oh, no, this is just an eye appointment. They're going to do an eye exam. I'm like, what? And my mom said, what? No, we're not getting glasses until January. I'm like, well, then why are we here? No. Well, because the insurance pays for it. And why are we here? You know, is it going to get fixed? So if she were to do this and do that and use the lens, use the frames that she has right now today, what would it cost? $350. Oh, the insurance doesn't cover it today. January it will cover the glasses. So I am like seething. I am so beside myself, like, if I were a rocket, I would have lifted off. I would have. And so I said, well, my mom goes, well, the insurance pays for it, might as well do it. I'm like, just because the insurance pays for it, might as well do it, doesn't count. I had to take time off of work, use my vacation time to take off to come to take you to the eye doctor to get you new glasses, and now you don't even get new glasses till January. Okay, this is not have a hoodwink. Hello. Got you, Cheryl. And so I said, you know, I can do this. She came back out and she said, oh, I'm partly blind in my right eye. And I'm like, wow, did he fix it for you? And she said, no. I go, okay, then why are we here? Because you're blind and almost blind in the right eye. Okay. And so she's like, well, I can get, at least I know. I'm like, yeah, and the insurance paid for it, so okay, good. That's all fine and good. You know, but I was like, so I can't even explain to you beside myself, like there were no spiritual principles practiced at any point in that whole hour or 2 hours. I kept trying to get there, but I just found myself going, motherfucker. She did not just do this. You know, okay, well, yeah, she did. So now what I've decided, here's the thing. What my program tells me is that when I'm presented with some kind of problem, with some kind of issue, with some kind of welcome, babes, with some kind of something I don't know anything about, is that what I know for sure is that I am the perfect person that I find any situation I find myself in, that God gives me whatever it is that I need in order to get through, to get over, to get by, get past, whatever. And I find myself to be the perfect person. You know, I'm going to take control of her doctor's appointments from now on, because she didn't remember either. She thought she thought she was getting new glasses too, poor thing. You know, and I'm like, she's like, what? I'm like, what? Everybody's at the doctor's office like nuts. But I don't like that kind of stuff. I'm like, it's just crazy to me. And so, God bless her, you know, and God bless anybody who takes care of anybody who's 90, you know, because we're all going to get there. One of my most, so I'll go back a little bit now, one of my most fondest recollections of early recovery, when I came in and I said, my name's Cheryl Faye and I'm an addict. I looked around and there was very small, and I wanted to grow old with all of them. I want to grow old with all you people, even Jackie, who I couldn't understand a word she said. The words she used were this big. And my vocabulary was really small. Well, you know, when you're from the gutter and the street, you don't need a lot of words. You don't need a lot of words. And but I really wanted to grow old with everybody, and now I find that I am. You know, there's a lot of people that I'm growing old with now, and we're all going to get there pretty much at the same time, because we're all very close at the same age. Like, I'll be 65 at the end of this month, and I think, shit, I should have been dead when I was 32. So all of this time is like God's time. I've been, you know, basically doing whatever I suit up and show up. That's what, and whatever God has in store for me, I try, and I don't try. I do with a happy heart, or I'm mad. Most of the time, it is with a happy heart. But when I feel like I just got had by my mom, who's 90, I'm mad. I get upset, and it just pisses me off that I'm so dumb. You know, like, I'm not dumb, but you know, when I got here, it was a handful of people that I loved deeply, and I got to know from the inside out. You know, like, it was as if we were like one mind. I'll just put it like that, because that's what it felt like to me. And we did everything together. I mean, everything. It's like, we're going to coffee after. We're going over here. We're all going to the movies. Even though we don't all have money, we're all getting together money, and we're all going. And we're all doing everything, and we're all calling each other. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And, like, taking a shit. What? You know? Is that cool? You know? They're like, yes, I mean, intimately we knew each other. And if you weren't answering, we show up at your house. That's all. That's it. We're coming over. And I had this one girl, Paula, God love Paula. She came over one time, like just showed up after the meeting, and she said, here's my purse. She threw it at me. Here's my keys, and threw it at me, and she goes, I'm staying the night with you. I'm like, all right. And she said, can I sleep with you, or can I sleep with you, or do I need to sleep on the couch? I go, you're on the couch, bitch. I don't fuck around. She's like jumping in my bed and shit. I'm like, no, you're not. I know you, but I don't know you that well. You'll want to know you that well. God love Paula, but Paula was married to Eddie, who never could get any time together. Poor Eddie. Oh my God. But to hear the saga every week, I had to make amends to Paula. Because at 10 years I found myself involved in a relationship with a junkie who was practicing, who I drove to the connection, who I drove to the bank, who I got money for, who I gave him money. I took him to the connection and brought him home so I know where he'd be. I don't want to have to worry about where he's at out there. And I chased down Paula. And I go, where's Paula? I gotta find Paula, because I used to fucking take her inventory hard. Get rid of that son of a bitch. I tell him, what are you hanging on to Eddie for? Get rid of that son of a bitch. And here I am, like, oh, worse. You know, at least she didn't take him to the connection. They barely had a car. You know, and I'm co-signing for trucks. I'm doing all kinds of, I could fix you. I'm sure I could fix you. I could love you enough if I could just love you enough. Oh, I was a good old lady, I'll tell you what. I really am. We had a house full of furniture. He had snap-on toolboxes to the fucking ceilings, and we had it going on, and I weighed like 123 pounds. Everybody thought I was using because I was sick. I was looking at him at nighttime, watching his chest move up and down. Is he breathing? Did he die? Is he dead yet? He's not going to die in bed, is he? Oh, please, I don't want him to die, but I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to keep doing this anymore either. And I kept going. I tell people, when is this going to be over? And they go, when you want it to be over, Cheryl. I'm like, what's that mean? At 10 years, I didn't know what that meant. I'm like, oh, you mean the minute I say, stop that? Get away from me? I'm out? It didn't make sense. No, I love him. I love him. He loves me. I'm going to fix him, and we're going to be happy. For God's sake. I just want a little happy. And I couldn't even, after it took me 3 years to get over that stuff, but I beat myself to a bloody stump. Actually, I saw him on my way to work one morning in the car that I had co-signed for. Okay, we lost a truck. I have co-signed for another car. All right, well, you know, I'm not done yet. And so whenever you're done, you're done. That's all I can tell you. That's my lesson. When you're done, you know you're fucking done. And so I'm behind him, and he's mad dogging me in the rear view mirror. And I'm mad dogging him back. And I'm starting to do that power thing where you do the gas and the brake. It's on and cracking, motherfucker. Yeah, I got you now. Somebody's gonna get hurt. And then a little tow-headed little girl starts popping her head in the back seat like this. I'm like, what? Damn. Oh, damn. Because his girlfriend was blonde, and she, you know, and then the little girl's in the back seat. I'm like, so my God is an awesome God. I put the blinker on and I turned right. I'm not doing anything here. You know, that poor little girl, she didn't deserve anything. I'm not doing it. No, I'm not. I have 2 kids. I have grandkids. I have great grandkids now, and that little girl would have taken the brunt of whatever I was ready to dish out. And so it was shortly after that I moved out of town. And I don't care what you call it, geographic, you can call it whatever you want. I call it divine intervention. God knew exactly what to do with me because somebody was going to get hurt. Maybe me, maybe him. Somebody's going down for this because I feel so stupid. And so anyway, I actually moved out of town. My old boss asked me if I'd come back to work for her. I moved to San Mateo and lived in San Mateo, Redwood City for a while, and then moved to Pleasanton, and I was in Pleasanton for about 10 years. And I come back to town every now and then, and I'm so grateful that God works like that in my life, because when it was time to come back home, I came back home. You know what I mean? And here I am now, 10 years, 11 years later, in Madeira, looking for the water tower. I'm going to tell you what happened. We came up here when it was raining, that hard rain. LD was going to share at the Friday night meeting. I'm driving, because I think I know where the water tower is. I'm an Indian, right? I have a very good sense of direction. And I do, but not when it's raining really hard, and I don't drive so good at nighttime, because freaking scare myself. So we're driving in the pounding rain, and we're trying to call, how do you get to the water tower? Oh, I see it over there. There it was. There it goes. Turn around and go back, and we're in like the pounding rain. So we pull into the I'm so sorry shopping. Not the hearts are cortisone, I think it was. I forget. And we're in the parking lot. I'm trying to call Sherry, like, where is it? Come get us, come get us. And Diane's like, no, forget it. We're already 20 minutes late. Let's just go back home. I'm like, ah. So we turned around and went back home. Well, I'm glad we got to drive out into the pounding rain. And now we're behind a truck 40 miles an hour down the freeway, trying to beat it home before the rain drops with this big wipers are like doing like that. But, you know, like things like that. And my sister, I swear to God, I could get lost with her out in the country with a bucket of Kentucky Fried Chicken, and I would be so happy. I could care less, really. I don't mind being lost. I like it. It's like a journey, you know. And when I moved to Pleasanton, I actually go take myself for a drive and get lost on purpose. Like, I wound up on the Freeway 680. Like, how the hell did I do that? I don't know, but I don't want to be on the Freeway 680. Turn around and go back, you know. So I did, and it's not frightening to me to be lost. I don't mind it unless on a time thing, you know, where you're supposed to know where you're going. But now I know where I'm going to the water tower because it's light outside. I'm not driving in the dark. And my sister has a series thing that, you know, you plug in. She goes, "What's that? I don't have the address. You have the address?" She's like, "No, Frick and Frack." Right? "Where's the meeting schedule?" "I don't have one." "You got one?" "No, I don't have one." I get a meeting schedule, put my name on it, and give it away. I know where all the meetings are that I need to know, you know, that I go to. That's all I do. It's all locked in here. And I have what do you call those on the side of the road? You know, that stone, that tree, that to find my way. I don't know the name of the street. I just know how to get there. That's all. I don't need a schedule, but I'm so grateful for all of those life lessons and all of those journeys that God takes me on from time to time that shoots me down the rabbit hole. I swear to God, I don't know what's gonna, you know, ass up, feet up, I don't know. You know, like I'm just on the journey and prepared for whatever, like I said, the perfect person for any situation I find myself in. And it may take a minute to get there, but I get there. That's all. I get there. Because I know the spiritual principles of this program work, and I know that they are the only thing that does work. You know, when it's just me and myself and you guys are all gone and I'm not calling anybody, or I'm not going to say that you wouldn't be able to help me, because I believe maybe you could, but in that moment, the only person that can help me is God. That's all. And that's what I know for sure. And when they told me, when I got here, you know, like, you got to pray on your knees and stuff, and then I'm like, all right, I'll do it on my knees. I don't care. I'll do it. I'll do whatever. My sponsor told me I had to make my bed for 30 days. Why? I'm just going to mess it up. She said, because we're undisciplined people. Just like that. And I said, oh, okay. So I made my bed for 30 days. And when the 30 days were up, I went back to whatever I did before. I did not make my bed every day. But I got the gist of the discipline. And that was the lesson. Was that I am an undisciplined. If I don't have any direction, that I don't have any steps or any principles or any God, any nothing, then I am like flopping like a fish out of water. That's all. You know, I don't know which way to go, what to do. I'm grateful that Flossie was my sponsor for a lot of years, but here I'm going to tell you about my very first step, so that you can know how bad it really was in here. These 6 inches between my eyes, right here. This is where it all happens. All the fun. And I had a bunch of sponsors, but this one sponsor, she told me, you need to go home and you have to write about what's unmanageable in your life. That's the first step, right? And I said, okay, I can do that. So I went home and I'm like looking around for stuff to be unmanageable about. And here's my mom sitting in this little, she's capsulated because my dad's an alcoholic, raging, and my 3 other brothers and sisters, my 2 brothers and my sister, are a drunk and loaded mess, and she's like this with a cigarette hanging out of her mouth, sewing or crocheting or doing something, I don't know. My dad's up here in the other room drunk and smoking and watching TV, and I don't know if my sisters, but I looked around and I thought, well, my life is just perfect. Everything's in place. Everything's perfectly fine. Nothing unmanageable here. And I walked by a mirror and I looked at my hair and I said, oh my God, how could I miss it? My fucking hair is unmanageable. So I wrote that down and I took it back to her. I did. And she looked at me like, are you stupid? I'm like, pretty much, yeah. I am dumb as a bucket of rocks. I don't know what you're talking about. What do you want from me? You know? So she goes, you need to go write some more. And I'm like, write more what? Everything's, you know, like I couldn't see it. It took like about a year for the whole thing to just go whoosh, oops, oh my God. And while I was working my steps, it took me 3 years to figure out how to resentment against my dad. Because, again, I'm daddy's princess, right? And all my resentment was towards my mom. Hated her. Hated her. I was writing for days about her. It's ironic, isn't it? When you get clean, everything flips, and I'm like, ooh, my dad was he was a bad old drunk. You know, I don't know why my mom stayed with him. You know, like when you see it differently, you see it differently. And unfortunately, actually, I didn't know to like hide my step work. I didn't know to like hide it so nobody else could read it. And my mom's kind of nosy, so she read it. And she's holding it, like shaking it at me, going, well, I didn't know you hated me this much. And I'm like, yeah, I do. And I go, why did you read that? You shouldn't read that. You stay out of my stuff. I grabbed it from her, and I didn't know what to say, but this is what God spoke. He said, it took me a long time to learn to hate you. It's going to take me some time to learn to love you. Quit reading my stuff. And I stomped out. Bye. You know, like, so you have to be really, really kind of careful with that stuff, because it jacked her up. And I didn't, you know, they told me I need to write my resentments, and the first one is my mom, because I hated her. And yeah, I had pages and pages. It's amazing when you start writing, and I strongly, strongly believe there's magic in the pen and paper. Not on the computer, you know, like some people like to do. Here's my thing, it's on the computer now, let's read it. No, take it back. I want you to write it out. Because the magic happens in the pen and the paper. When you're like writing and you see what you're writing, and when you stop lying to yourself, it's amazing. Because the doors start flying open when you're writing, and then you write, oh shit, that's not true. Okay, here goes the truth right here. And then you get busy with it. You know, it just comes out, it falls out, and that was my experience with, and I tried, because I'll tell you that, I tried to do it on the computer and stuff, but it was not, I turned it into a novel, like I'm writing a damn book. I start, you know, like ta-ta-ta, on the computer here, oh, and then in walked, what's his name, you know? Shit, get real, please. Where's the pen and paper? I could not do it, so I suggest and highly suggest you use pen and paper. But, because nothing made sense to me. The word resentment didn't make any sense to me, and I was spoon-fed, kind of. Some guy was sharing at the meeting, and I didn't particularly care for him. You know, like, because what you know when you get here is what you know when you're on the streets. Until you work the steps, then you know better, right? So, this weird walk, we were all going to Denny's. We went to Denny's, and I'm like, oh, I hate that son of a bitch. I wish he'd shut the fuck up. And somebody walked past me after they heard me, and they go, that's a resentment. I'm like, oh, now I have to make amends to this dude I don't like. Because that's what I associated. Okay, you know, I had the process of association, but I didn't have the full picture. And all I knew is I better stop talking like that. Because I didn't want to have to make amends to him. Okay, you know, like, and I'm supposed to be kind and loving, and they would say things like, leave your all your stuff at the door when you come in here. Leave your armor out there or whatever. Put your guns and knives and all that stuff out there, because it doesn't belong in the meeting. Because the meeting is kind and loving and a safe place for everybody. You know, like they told me, you can never put your hands on another human being to harm them. And I'm like, what? Wow. Okay, so not that I was a big, you know, like boxer or anything, but I, you know, threw a few. The bigger they are, the better, you know. And that comes from when I was like little. My brother would pit me against the little neighbor girl, like, you better sock her up. You better sock her. You better punch her. And they're all like around, and her brothers and my brothers, and they're telling me to sock this little girl, and I'm like, but I play with her. I play with her, and I kind of like her. They're like, punch her, so I fucking punched her. And and they're like, yeah, and then she started crying and ran away. And then I feel bad. I'm like pissed off my brothers, so I start punching my brothers. You know, like, you, look what you made me do. So then we just start boxing. Like, I was not afraid to box, you know, not at all. And So when I got here and they said things like that, like, oh, wow, okay. Does that include your kids? Because I could throttle my kids every now and again. And I almost did one time. I told my daughter, she, I don't know what she said, something. She was mouthing off, and I just told her, I was sitting on the couch. I came home from work. I was tired. I didn't want to hear it, and I moved over here to this apartment in Clovis so you could have a good life and a nice school and blah, blah. And well, she's the first one that winds up pregnant back at Roosevelt, right? She was like, fuck you, Mom. I'm like, no. But she was mouthing off to me. I told her one more word, I'm up off this couch and you're going to be sorry. You're going to be really sorry. And she's like, I go, go ahead. And I was like leaning and getting up, and she's like, oh. And she went in her room, and I'm like, oh, thank God she did. Because I don't know what I would have done. Seriously, I don't know what I would have done. But, I know that when everything that I needed to know, raising kids, getting along with my fellow recovering addicts, my parents, my brothers, my sister, my sisters in the fellowship, everything I needed to know. You people taught me here. And I read a few self-help books, like that. They really helped too. I'm not going to lie, they did. Probably one of my favorite was the Sermon on the Mount. It was the spiritual as hell, but there were a lot of great speakers that I heard, great conventions that I went to. I went to the World Convention in Long Beach. I don't know how much time I had, but I remember the Saturday night speak. There was 10,000 addicts there. 10,000. And I'm like, okay, it was one of those where you walk through the lobby like this, excuse me, and you just barely walk, excuse me. And I got very involved in H&I, love H&I. And I'll tell you why. At first it was kind of selfish. Because it was like a captive audience. It was all men. And I went to picked up a thing at Jamestown. The third Tuesday of every month I'd go to Jamestown. Me and Lorenzo, some of you know here, I'd come to Madeira, pick up Lorenzo, and we'd drive up there. And when I was at that convention, I'm going to tell you this story. It was very powerful. There was a man, big tattooed guy who was huge, and he was yelling like, hey, like he yelled really loud. And I'm like looking around like, because people start talking loud like that, I know shit's jumping off, right? Where I come from. And so I look back and I'm like, whatever, dude, I'm just keep walking, mind my own business, right? And he starts yelling again, hey, and I'm like, uh-oh. And he looks at me and he goes, yeah, you. And I'm like, oh, me? Oh no. And I just quickly go, please God, prepare my heart for an amends. Please God, prepare my heart for an amends. Because I was one of those little tornado Tasmanian. If I touched your life, it wasn't in a nice way. And it was not in a nice way, and it wasn't meant to be. So I'm like, oh God, please prepare me for an amends. And he looked at me, and we finally came together. He goes, you don't remember me, do you? And I said, no, I'm sorry, I don't. And he said, you used to come to Jamestown. And I said, yeah. He goes, I used to be in Jamestown. I'm like, what? You know how you go do all this service, but you never see anybody in the meeting? and you go to juvenile hall and you carry the message and you think they're going to all show up, and because you just shared the whole secret with them, the whole secret of the universe, they're all going to show up and be happy, joyous, and free, but nobody ever shows up, you know. And you wonder, what the fuck am I going here for? And and so I'm in Long Beach at a World Convention, and here's this dude, and he goes, you used to come every month. He goes, you know what? It wasn't anything that you ever said, but it was the fact that you showed up. I'm like, wow. Now that to me was powerful. And we hugged. I'm getting chills. We hugged and we both started crying. I'm crying with this big tattooed criminal motherfucker. And, and we're both crying in the middle of these 10,000 people walking around us, right? And I'm like, wow. And he tells me in my ear, he goes, I've been clean for 3 years and I work with high-risk youth children now. That's my job. And I'm like, no way. Now I'm crying some more, and we're crying some more, and I'm like, dude, this shit works. It works. You know, like, I had some serious validation. You know what I mean? God spoke, and loudly I could hear that. And it wasn't that I didn't think it was working, because when they asked me to carry the message to the institutions, I would go, you know, and I got, at one time, tired of going to juvenile hall because the little gangsters, they didn't want to hear me, and I don't want to hear them. So I asked the people at the front desk if I brought in a cassette player and a speaker tape of Freddie Mata. I don't know if anybody of you know, they call him Motormouth Mata. He was from San Jose. He used to be in the Nostra Familia, and his story was amazing. Anyways, I brought a speaker for you tonight. His name is Freddie, and I pushed play. And I sat down and we listened to Freddie, and those kids sat up in their seats and they were like, what? Because Freddie carried a serious message to the incarcerated, because that's where he came from. They don't want to hear some old white girl off the street, never been to freaking prison. I've never been to prison. I've been to jail. but keep it up yet. Right? So that's one of my yes. I've never been to prison. I remember whenever this girl asked me to sponsor her, I called my sponsor and I go, you have to do this because I've never been to prison. I don't know anything about it, so you have to be her sponsor. And she told me, Cheryl, you worked the steps, didn't you? And I'm like, yeah. And she said, well, what do you think that you're supposed to do here? I go, okay, teach her how to work the steps? And she said, yeah. And I said, okay. I don't have to really be to prison, you know. I don't have to be an international dealer, smuggler, or whatever. I don't have to be busted. Well, that's somebody else's story. But anyway, I remember sitting next to my sponsor and telling her I don't belong here anymore because I didn't internationally smuggle anything. I've never been out of the country. Ever. Farthest I've been is Oklahoma. That's all. And so whatever my disease would try and tell me, like I don't belong here anymore, she would tell me shut up, you know, and I'd say all right, and I'd sit and wait for the miracle to happen some more. And she told me this was another very big lesson, because remember Jackie, who used the big words. I go, what's that mean? I would sit next to Flossie at every meeting because I was like this. She was like my rock. And I go, what's that mean? And she'd tell me, and then I go, what's that mean? And she'd tell me, and I go, what's that mean? And she goes, buy a fucking dictionary. I'm like, oh my God, oh sorry, okay, all right, I will, all right. So I got a dictionary, you know. Seriously, I had to look a lot of words up, but I didn't understand. I didn't understand them. And like sometimes I would walk in with a little notebook because I knew if she was going to go off on a tangent, I'm going to write this shit down because I am going to get it. I'm going to write it down. I'm going to go home and look it up. I'm going to be smart as you some days. So there. And I do feel like I'm smart as you there someday. And I don't have to look it up anymore. I know what it means. I've looked at... I haven't been to high school. I've graduated to DeWolf, continuation to high school, and I went to City College to be an interpreter for the deaf, but that's about my schooling, I'm not really that smart about anything. And sometimes I think about going back to school and trying to concentrate on something. Are you kidding me? No. I could be an Uber driver. I've thought about that. Because I know my way around, right? I can make it to the water tower now. Oh, shit, you guys. When we get really old, we're just not even going to care. We're just going to go. But get a bucket of Kentucky Fried Chicken and just go. But anyway, that's funny. That's hysterical. So back up to today. Now I'm 65. I'm getting ready. Here's something new. I'm getting ready to retire, but I don't know when I should retire because my car took a shit. Didn't really take a shit, but the engine light came on. And it freaked me out. So I went and bought a new car. And now I have a car payment. What the hell? I don't know. What do I have to pay to fix it or get a new one? Get a new one. So now I'll be working until I'm 90. But I'm getting all this crap in the mail about, Medicare. And I got to get Medicare. And you gotta pick your Medicare and supplements A or B, or here you should go with us, or you have to. So now I need to call in sick one day at work and just go to the Social Security office and find out what they're talking about, because I think I might retire at 66 and I might retire at 70. I don't know. I'm not sure yet. My mom says, "Why don't you retire now?" I'm like, no. I can't afford it, for one, that's for sure. Now we have a car payment and a house payment. Oh. Of course, when she's gone, that house payment is out of here. That house payment's gone, too, and all I'll have is a car payment. But still, like, double of what you're used to living on, cut that in half and try. I looked at it and went, there's no fucking way. I mean, seriously, I could live in a one-bedroom apartment. And I'm like, okay, the PG&E, blah, 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 blah. Maybe I could apply for some of those programs for old people, like, what's out there? I better sign myself up, and I don't even, because it's an uncharted territory. And I have no idea what I'm going to do with myself when I retire. If I don't have to get up and be at work every day, what am I going to do? I could volunteer, I could do this, I could be an Uber driver, I could be, and that's when I was thinking about maybe I could go back to school. Maybe I'll be an attorney or something, I want to be a divorce attorney, that's what I want to be. Fight for the right side. And, you know what I'm talking about. Ain't your side. Is her side. Anyway. God. Okay, so I guess what I want to say is that the possibilities in God's universe are endless. Like, I could be anything I want to be when I grow up. Like, I kind of want to be like my friend Molly. She paints. She's a great painter. She paints oil paint. Like, wow, that's cool. That's cool. I can't paint. No. But, so trying to figure out the next... We only want to live till we're 80. Me and Margarita, we have a pact, but like when we turn 80... We're going to rent a Cadillac convertible, whatever year that is, and then drive it off a cliff like Thelma and Louise. See ya, we're out. Bye. That's our retirement plan. That's our let's just get out of here and see you later kind of plan, huh? I think it's romantic. I kind of like that idea, actually. I don't even know what the future holds, but I know that, like, come tomorrow morning, I got to get up, clock in, go to work. One foot in front of the other, they told me, and I'm like, okay, I could do that. When I asked one of my sponsors, she said something like, do the next indicated thing. And I said, what's that? Well, I know it when I see it, because I have no idea what the next indicated thing is or will be. And I said, that's what I asked her. I go, what's that? It's like a big mystery. And she said, well, how will I know? How will I know what the next indicated thing? She goes, well, it's simple, Cheryl. You just tell yourself, I have to pee, and you get up and you go pee. And I go, well, that's so simple. How simple is that? Okay, I got the next indicated thing. Got it. So whenever I see the next indicated thing for the next half of my life, then I will just put one foot in front of the other, trust God, and go. That's all you can do, like I love to write script, I love to write the ending. I love to write, what next week's going to look like. I love to, my favorite pastime, and my sponsor always tells me, you can't write the ending, Cheryl. As soon as I start talking and I've written the ending, because I'm telling her the ending, she goes, you can't write the ending. I'm like, shit, that's right, huh? All right. Damn. So I have to go back and I have to start from the beginning, like, okay, find my part. That's what I have to do. I have to find my part and go from there. And, it's not that, it's not that difficult. It's more of a fear of the unknown, like when you're new in recovery, you don't know what the fuck's going to happen next. I have no idea. All they told me was, don't limit God. Do not limit God. I'm like, okay, because he has something much bigger for you than this wheelchair factory. I'm like, really? Because I was very grateful to work at that wheelchair factory. I really dug it until I didn't. And then it was time to move on, because I'm 5 years clean and sober, wanting to put sugar down the gas tank of my manager. All kind of bad things happened at 5 years. I have to tell you that. Because I knew that and I thought I knew that, it wouldn't happen to me. No, it happened. That's why I believe that this lady said, at 5 years I came to, and then I came to believe. And I said, oh, that's me. That's me, that's for sure, because shit changes. Like all of a sudden, wham, it's all different. So I quit that job and I went to work for the lady I'm currently working for now, but there was like a bounce around period where I worked part-time here and part-time there, just to like take a deep breath. I don't want to hurt any of God's kids. I don't want to hurt any of God's kids. I don't want to hurt myself. And I don't like it when I get to that very obstinate, mean frame of mind and being, I don't like it. So I have to step out of it. And if it means quitting a job that was the best job I ever had in my life, then it means quitting that job. Because God will provide another one, something else for me to do, and he did. So far, so good. But, like, I know that, I don't know, okay, I know that it will be all right when I retire, when I get 66 or 70. Or the car is closer to paid off than not, if I don't get killed or hit by a bus on my way home tonight, because I'm not promised anything. I'm just promised just today. So if that day comes, when that day comes, I am the perfect person. for any situation I find myself in. Me and God can do anything. Me and God can do anything, and that's all I need to know. You know, and I'm grateful that you guys were here, and I'm grateful that I had somewhere to come, and for the ones who loved me when I got here and continue to love me today. You know, like that was what it was all about for me. If I don't get anything else, I am overpaid because of the people who love me that are in my life. If I looked around and took an inventory of just the people who I know love me and that I love deeply, that's what it's all about for me. I've bought houses, I've lost houses, I filed bankruptcy twice, and I bought 2 houses. I bought 3 houses, really. 2.5 now. And I had new cars, and I sold new cars, and I, you know, like I've had this things and that things can just be all stolen by a junkie at 10, 11 years clean. Forgot to mention that. Oh yeah, he rode off into the sunset with everything I own. And I walked into the apartment and I went, that'll take your breath away. Oh my God. You know, so and it was a good lesson. I mean, it took 3 years to recover from it, but the lesson was I'm not attached to any of that shit. You cannot take it with you. That's all. It's there for right now. And I get to use it, thank you God. And it was a hard one because I put a lot of stuff into, the stuff, you know, because I am the stuff I own. You know, no. No, you're not. And can all be gone tomorrow, you know, like, so I'm really grateful that you love me and I get to love you, and then you get to teach me how to love and continue to love, and this program was for me all about loving and giving and caring and sharing and that unconditional love, you know, like no matter what. No matter what, Paula, if you want to talk about Eddie for 5 years, we don't care. Go ahead. You know what I'm saying? And with that, I'll just keep coming back. I think it's about time.